Hello, Buff fans. Welcome to this week's Go Buff Sports Live Show. I'm your host, Hannah Howell.
And I'm Aiden Glockner, also your host.
What?
Hannah, beautiful spring that we have today. I really don't miss the 70-degree weather that we had literally 24 hours ago.
Honestly, Aiden, I'm sure the people going to Disco Line tonight agree with you. Nothing screams disco like a cold front and snow.
Well, what does scream disco, though? All you need to know about CU sports this week.
We're seeing green this Friday as one of CU's biggest donors made a record-breaking investment into the athletic department. Longtime donors Jeff Crawford and his wife Orsi committed $6 million to CU athletics over the next 3 years. Half of their gift will go to the newly named George Family Athletic Directors Fund, named for quasi-retired AD Rick George. The other half will be redirected to student athletes through the Crawford's Family Whole program, which started in 2021 to help CU manage the NIL era. Jeff is a real estate giant and CU grad who has long dedicated earnings to the university, but his cash influx on Friday was one of the largest in school history.
Marquee teams hate to see the Buffaloes in the transfer portal. Colorado added 4 players, including an all-freshman and a freshman of the year from mid-major programs. The first commit was former Tulane guard and the aforementioned ACC freshman of the year, Michaelin Marshall. J.R. Payne's squad then added the other 3 on Tuesday. The Buffs signed former Big 12 guards K-State's Ania Foy and Utah's Brooke Walker. The final commit was forward Kira Reynolds, who earned all freshman honors with UT Arlington.
Alongside those commits, Colorado's largest freshman contributor announced her return. Forward Logan Greer re-signed with the Buffs this week after earning all Big 12 freshman honors. While one Buff stays, another former Buff is moving on to greener pastures. Former forward Jade Masagallo signed a training camp invite with the Minnesota Lynx. She joins another former Buff in guard, Jalen Sherrod.
Is Ralphie a Buffalo or a Bison? Well, for the new commit to Colorado, it doesn't matter. The men's team announced that on Friday, Noah Feddersen, a junior from North Dakota State, is leaving the Bison for the Buffaloes. The commitment comes just days after Colorado hosted him on Saturday for an official team visit. Feddersen, entering his senior year, averaged 10 points in the 2026 postseason to help his Bison to a Summit Conference championship. He was also named 6th Man of the Year of the Summit Conference and is shooting a reliable 53% so far in his career. The Wisconsin native stands at 6'10", much taller than me, and is a much-needed pickup at the center position for Tad Boyle and company after some notable departures earlier this month. Another player in the portal, Kendall Sanders, formerly of Utah, will be visiting Colorado early next week.
As the school year comes to an end, Buffs have some football news to look forward to, as the theme nights for 2026 football season were released on Wednesday. The season will kick off in style at the home opener against Weber State, where the Buffs will pack the stands in white. From there, the energy builds with a stripe-out matchup against Texas Tech, followed by the Gold Rush celebration and family weekend game against Utah. Later in the season, the team will honor service members with a military appreciation theme during their game against Kansas State. And to wrap it all up, Senior Day against UCF will double as Fan Appreciation Day, giving the program a chance to give back to the fans who bring the spirit all season long.
Well, Colorado's good old spring game was last Saturday, and it was filled with more SCO Buffs members than returning players. Coach Prime and company took to Folsom for about an hour to showcase all the bits and pieces it added this offseason. However, a returner will be at the helm in quarterback Julian Lewis. Harrison Simeon had instant takeaways from the day, while Jake Chow and Mason Davis had more on CU's outlook for 2026.
Spring, a time to be renewed, and the Colorado Buffaloes feel just that way as the spring game, 4th under Coach Deion Sanders, is complete. A solid day of optimism, some creativity flashed by new offensive coordinator Brendan Marion, some leadership and some speed showed by wide receiver Daniel Scudero, and comfort from the future of the franchise, Julian Lewis, the quarterback. Had great plays today, had a little bit here and there where he could have done more, had some passes batted down, some overthrown balls, but overall he looked pretty good in the system. Didn't show too much of that creativity of the go-go, but you saw the elements of it. You saw the staples, the 2 running backs on his hip, the quick passes, the throws in space, and sure some solid runs as well from Damian Henderson, but also the defense making some plays as the scrimmage wound down. Mojo Williams, New Orleans native, the freshman cornerback, ended the day with an interception, and that was basically it. It's the glorified practice. You don't want to take anything too hard away from it, but this Buffaloes team looks much more connected than this 3-9 team that we saw last year, and they look much more comfortable around each other. They look to have a lot more fun. They look competitive, and while it may not be a Big 12 title winning team, it's certainly going to be a team that takes steps forward in the right direction to build something for Coach Prime at Colorado. And for the last time at Folsom Field, it's a beautiful day. Got to soak it in. I'm Harrison Simeon for SCO Buff Sports.
Welcome into Buff Banner. My name's Jake Chow, joined here with Mason Davis. And we just watched the Buffaloes take Folsom Field in their spring game, Coach Prime's fourth one here in Boulder. And it looked like a pretty good one. Mason, what were your key takeaways from the spring game?
Yeah, I think my first and biggest takeaway, Jake, we saw it on the very first play of the game, the new offensive go-go system coming here to Boulder, along with new offensive coordinator Brendan Marion. That first play, that trick play downfield, and then more throughout that first series, we saw speedsters getting into space, short opportunities, but turning it down into more, pushing it down the field, and then eventually setting up that long touchdown, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And it feels like a bit of an extension of that Pat Shurmur offense that frustrated Buff fans throughout the entire season last year. And we knew it wasn't really living up to its potential. And Brendan Marion coming in, kind of revamping it, and really building it to a skill set that complements the players that are wearing the black and gold this year, like Julian Lewis. We saw him connect with Danny Scudero, who is another guy who will be big for this offense. And that kind of brings me into the second point, and a point that feels great about this team is Deion Sanders hit the transfer portal hard this year. Little continuity from last year. What are a few guys that you're looking forward to who are new in black and gold?
Yeah, of course, Jake, in 2026, we're built through the transfer portal. So you touched on Danny Scudero. He's going to be awesome, but also someone like Damian Henderson in the backfield. We saw very good flashes from him in the spring game, navigating behind a new offensive line, navigating into space through defenders, creating big chunk plays. We're hoping to see more of that once the regular season comes around, with a Deion Sanders football program in Colorado that really has never had that much of an established rushing game. I'd love to see more of that and have a nice balanced attack, in addition to Marion's kind of outlet system. And then on the defense side of the ball, we have to mention Mr. Boo Carter coming over from the SEC school in Tennessee. We saw him flying around the field, making big plays, tackles all over, disrupting that offense that Marion's putting out there. But it's good to see that balance and a real statement from the defense, someone new coming over.
Yeah, absolutely. And then a guy I mentioned, Danny Scudero, but led FCS in passing or in receiving yards last year. And so he'll be a big addition for this Deion Sanders program. And then also the continuity. A lot of guys from Sacramento State where Brendan Marion was the head coach, as you mentioned. So it'll be really interesting to see how all of these kind of different skill sets come together and if Coach Prime is built to lead. I know there are some questions. So what's your outlook? What should Buff fans take away from the spring game? And how are you feeling about this coming season?
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think it comes down to I'm feeling optimistic. I was a part of Deion's press conference, and he was talking some medical issues, different things he's felt from the program. But I think especially compared to last season where it didn't go well. We saw a 3-9 season, but I think there's real things Buff fans should be excited about because there's change within the program, not just with the players, but with the coaching staff and with that outlook that Deion's putting out in front of the press conference. Even here in the spring, not even far away from the season, there's still much more to build on. And I'm excited to see it because I think there's a lot of potential here. We saw it 2 years ago. They took a little of a gap, but I think we can respond, do better than 3-9, and put out a product that Buff fans will be more happy to see this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's many reasons to be optimistic on this Buff squad, but I'm a little worried about Deion. You know, he had some health issues. He said that there's no concern there for him, but I worry a little bit because Buff fans are souring. Some of the narrative that's being created is he being carried by Shedeur and Travis? And I think this is a make-or-break season for Deion. If Buff fans don't see a bowl game, we could see, with the new athletic director, a new football head coach as well. But I agree with you. There's a lot of reason to be optimistic. There's no reason to hit the panic button or even call for Deion's job yet. But
one more thing, Jake. I think I was seeing on the sideline, Deion was actually talking to a familiar Colorado face, Aqib Talib. His nephew is actually a part of the Colorado roster this season, talking about it in his press conference. Aqib talked to him. He said he's got a dog over there in his family. He wants to see him on the team. So we will see that next year. And I think that does bring up one more thought to me of 4 years now into this Deion Sanders experiment, you could say, in Colorado. And when he first came over here, it was the talk of the town. It was the talk of America when he first came over here, College game day and everything. So I think there's been a question of, is Colorado still in that national spotlight? And I'm hoping maybe even not success on the football field, but more lights, more attention to Colorado football would just be an awesome thing to see this fall.
Yeah, you could call it the return to the national spotlight. But this has been Buff Banner for Mason Davis. I'm Jake Chow. Back to you guys at the desk.
It's now time for this week's trivia question. After the football roster faced social media criticism regarding their size and muscle mass following the spring game, we did some math on the actual average size of the team. Our trivia question this week asks you, what is the average height and weight of the 2026 CU football roster? Stay tuned because we'll have the answer later in the show. It was another successful week for the lacrosse team, kicking it off with another win again at home against Cincinnati on Saturday. Senior attacker Maddie Shoup led the game with 5 goals, and junior attacker Rachel Kennedy scored her second consecutive hat trick to carry the Buffaloes 10-5. The Buffaloes remain undefeated at home in the late season and stand 3-1 in conference play.
The Buffaloes carried the momentum into a heated in-state rivalry game against number 18 Denver on Wednesday. Junior attacker Rachel Kennedy fueled CU with 5 goals, a new career high for her, and sophomore goalkeeper Elena O had 5 saves on the night. The DU men's hockey team was also in attendance with their shiny national championship trophy, but it wasn't enough to rally the Pios over the Buffs, who took a 9-6 win, as well as some bragging rights against another Colorado school.
The lacrosse team is escaping the spring snow and heading to sunny California this weekend, where they will play the UC Davis Aggies. This will be the 10th lacrosse match ever between UC Davis and Colorado, where Colorado currently holds an undefeated 9-0 record against them. First draw in Northern California is set for 1 p.m. on Sunday, and you can catch the game on the UC Davis YouTube channel, where there's strangely 4 people currently waiting for the event 2 days out.
Well, the Colorado Buffaloes women's soccer team hosted its annual Colorado Cup this past Saturday. Here is Max Friedel with the recap, direct from Prentup Field.
What's up, Buffs fans? My name is Max Friedel here at Prentup Field shortly after the Colorado women's soccer team beat Air Force 2-0 to claim their 5th straight Colorado Cup championship. The Buffs started off today with a 2-0 win over University of Colorado Springs and moved on to a game against Colorado College where they won 1-0 off an Ava Priest penalty. The big story today was how the Buffs are going to do without the Leyba twins. Obviously, Faith and Hope Leyba are on their U.S. women's national team call-ups, so without them today, how are they going to do? They did just fine. After the game, I talked with Ava Priest and Danny Sanchez. Ava said it's a great feeling that CU refuses to lose the Colorado Cup and now claiming their 5th straight. My name is Max Friedel, again, reporting for Scobo Sports.
Colorado's tennis season has come to an end. They lost to both Baylor and TCU this past senior weekend, where Anya Nelson, Rix Vanderwerf, and Aya El Sayed all played their last games for the Buffs. The losses solidify CU's spot near the bottom of the Big 12, eliminating them from contention for the Big 12 championship. With the team being ranked 75th, there's also no way for them to make it into the 64-team NCAA championship. The final record for the team was 10-13, going 2-11 in conference play. Our esteemed colleague Colby Wyatt is devastated and already counting down the days until next season.
In happier terms, though, the track and field team is traveling to California. The team will be spread out, attending 4 separate meets. The majority of the team is at the Brian Clay Invitational in Azusa, California, which includes sprints, long distance, and hammer throw. A few of our hurdlers and javelin throwers will be in Walnut at the Mount Sac Relay Meet. And the Long Beach and the Pacific Coast Invitationals will feature 7 athletes competing in various throwing events, the 400-meter and the 400-meter hurdles. There's less than a month for the team to hit their stride before the Big 12 championship meet.
Welcome to Folsom Feud. I'm your host, Colby, here with 3 contestants today, Lincoln, Balin, and Kieran. Lincoln, start us off.
I'll take game day etiquette for 200.
All right. This is the best way to show respect during the CU fight song.
What is standing, singing loud, and raising your hand in the hook 'em horn sign?
Not what we're looking for. Balin, you have an answer?
What is stand up, sing loud, and do the Ralphie horns?
Correct. Balin, the board is yours.
Give me tailgate traditions for 400.
All right, here's the answer. The must-have item to wear on game day to show your Buff pride. Kieran?
What is black and gold?
That's correct. Nothing says school spirit like those 2 colors. Choose the next one.
Let's do fan etiquette for 600.
Fan etiquette. The proper response when you hear someone yell, "Go Buffs."
What is Skull Buffs?
Skull Buffs is right. Looks like we've got some true Buffs fans here. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to our contestants, and see you next time.
Colorado Volleyball released its Big 12 schedule for 2026 after reaching the NCAA tournament last fall. Coach Jesse Mahoney, Buffaloes will kick off their conference slate at home against Utah on September 25th. They'll have a road-heavy October but finish the year largely in the CU Event Center, closing the season in Boulder against Iowa State.
As a final tune-up before summer break, the Buffaloes have a doubleheader in Fort Collins against Denver and their big rivals, Colorado State. CU swept DU, but struggled while battling for the Golden Spike last fall, taking 2 straight losses to CSU while winning just 1 set. It won't count in the history books, but there's never any shortage of intrigue in Rocky Mountain showdowns. First serve between the Buffs and the Pioneers is set for noon, then they play the Rams directly after.
The women's golf team has one more week to prepare for the Big 12 championship. The first round of the tournament begins on Thursday in Dallas, Texas. The second and third rounds will be played on Friday and Saturday, respectively. The Buffs head into the tournament ranked number 47 in the nation. A strong performance would see Colorado moving on to play in the NCAA Regional, starting on May 11th.
The men's golf squad finished 6th out of 9 teams at the Thunderbird Intercollegiate on Saturday. The team shot 8 strokes under par, with junior Brandon Knight leading the way. He finished 6th individually at the tournament, shooting a team-low 7 under. The New Mexico Lobos took home first place in Arizona, finishing 32 strokes under par. The Buffs will be back in action at the Big 12 Championship on April 27th.
Men's lacrosse finishes its regular season in the Rocky Mountain Showdown this weekend. The Buffs are 7-8 heading into this weekend's matchup against the Rams, who are 6-9. Both squads are coming off back-to-back losses against number 1 Utah Valley and number 2 BYU. The two rivals will face off at Kittredge Field on Saturday at 7 p.m. The game will be aired at the game's conclusion right here on ScoBuff Sports.
Well, the CU Buffs club baseball team lost their Rocky Mountain Showdown series 2-1 against the Colorado State Rams. Sophomore Richie Biberosh came up big in Game 3 with a walk-off home run to lift the Buffs to an 8-5 win. Before that, however, the Rams were able to secure 2 wins to open the series behind strong leadoff hitting from Ryan Lay and 5 strikeouts from pitcher Chase Ambuel. Colorado now looks to host Wyoming. The last time they played, CU swept the Cowboys, and now they're in for another 3-game rivalry series starting tomorrow at 3, right here on ScoBuff Sports.
Men's Division II hockey has a couple players in action this weekend in the Big Mountain Hockey Conference All-Star Game. The conference champions Buffs are sending 12 players to the game in Littleton on Saturday. Freshman phenom Brick Fisher will captain the Frosted Mugs team and is joined by Caleb Allen, Calvin Stone, Connor Smithberger, and David Lefkus. Team Locomotive will have CU captain Isaac Neffs, Gage Perry, Will Hadrick, Dominic Alexandrov, Corey DePonio, and Harrison Smith. The game is set at 4:45 tomorrow and will be streamed live on the BMHC YouTube channel.
Hey, Buff fans, I'm Kieran Walker bringing you this week's top 5 plays in Colorado sports. We're going to start off with some Lax going down to Denver as they took on the Pioneers, number 18 versus number 15 in the country. And Rachel Kennedy right out in front, and she rips it past, ladies and gentlemen. Rachel Kennedy, the senior, having a career high that night, scoring 5 goals, ladies and gentlemen. Number 4, let's go down to the spring game. That's transfer quarterback Isaac Wilson from Utah. And Mojo Williams with an incredible interception, ladies and gentlemen, bringing the mojo on Black and Gold Day here in Boulder last Saturday. Let's go back down to Denver for our number 3 spot. Look out, here comes the senior Lily Assini. She's got it herself. Going past midfield, she has got wheels and she is wide open. Sends it over to Kennedy, back to Assini, and back to Kennedy. Rips it past, ladies and gentlemen, giving the Buffaloes the lead in that third quarter as they took on the number 18 team in the nation right here in Colorado. Let's go back to that spring game for number 2. It's Julian Juju Lewis out on the field, rifling it downfield towards the end zone. And Danny Scudero, the next star wide receiver for Colorado, the new weapon for Coach Prime and the Buffaloes, making an impact on Black and Gold Day. Now for number 1, let's go to the Rocky Mountain face-off in baseball. It's Finn Simones up to the plate. He bats that one deep into left field, going way back towards the wall. And it's gone, ladies and gentlemen. I can't tell. Did that bounce off the cap of the left fielder? I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, but nonetheless a great play, a homer for Finn Simones in the Rocky Mountain face-off as the Rams came into Boulder. That's all I've got for you this week here on ScoBuff Sports. I'm Kieran Walker, wishing you a wonderful weekend.
Here we see Xavier McNevitz working on his reader for the live show. If we didn't have these readers done by Thursday night, chances are we would not be airing this show right now. Be like Xavier. Get your readers done. And don't forget to click save so that you don't lose any of your hard-earned work.
Hi, I'm Colby here with this week's Rapid Fire. Now, if you missed last weekend's amazing baseball broadcast, you can at least watch this weekend's series. The club baseball team is hosting Wyoming starting tomorrow at 3 and then Game 2 at 7 before they finish the series on Sunday, once again at 7. And the volleyball team is in Fort Collins with a spring version of the Rocky Mountain Showdown. They begin tomorrow at 11 a.m. And speaking of the Rocky Mountain Showdown, the club Lax team is hosting the Rams tomorrow at 7 on Kit Field. And finally, the track and field team is off to warmer weather, competing at 4 different meets throughout California: the Mount Sac Relays, the Long Beach Invitational, and the Pacific Coast Invitational. But the majority of the Buffs will be at the Brian Clay Invitational in Azusa. That is all for Rapid Fire. My name is Colby, and back to you at the desk.
It's now time for the answer to this week's trivia question. Earlier, we asked you what the average height and weight of the football team is. The answer is, drumroll please, 6'2" and 226 pounds, with its tallest player being 6'8", Leon Bell, and its heaviest player being Chauncey Gooden, who weighed in at 380 pounds. The combined height and weight compared to last year's average would have still been good for top 7 in the Big 12, far from the smallest.
Our tweet of the week comes from CU's football main account. Following ridicule over the team's alleged lack of size, new photos revealed Julian Lewis and more took it personal. And by personal, we mean steroids. Look how buff these Buffs are, finally putting the big in Big 12. Come week 1, Georgia Tech won't stand a chance.
Well, just like we're ending the semester here at CU, so too are we wrapping up these live shows at ScoBuff Sports.
But next week, we have a very special episode, and that is our final show of the year, and most importantly, our senior send-off.
And personally, I'm excited to hear all the kind words about me from the rest of the club.
And I can't wait to cry while I'm recording my send-offs to you all.
Unfortunately, our time together today has come to an end.
But, as always,
you heard it here first.